Yo, 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 what's good, world? It's your boy Rob, Gio, Andy. Real talk, real views. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. We got the players in the building. We have a special guest in the building. And we gotta share. We gotta give this boy a round of applause. First fucking white boy on Real Talk, Real Views. First white boy. Yo, that shit is special to me. You don't understand. I would have more white friends. I'd be white guests if I just knew some more. But, because I'm not racist or anything like that. But this guy, Max, is my boy, marketing major, knew him at K-State, nonprofit organization, has a great, good head on his shoulders, 24 years old, he's doing great things for the community. Max Mqueen, how you doing? And welcome to Real Talk, Real Views, baby.
Hey, you know what? I feel honored.
Yeah.
You really rattled off my resume, bro.
Oh, yeah, man. That's how I am, man. I know everybody. I know everybody's a lot of info. I study. But, man, Max, dog, today, man, what I was going to do is just have you kind of talk to us about, what it's like to be part of a nonprofit organization, or I guess you were the leader, right? You were the leader of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could kind of tell somebody, that wants to do that, kind of how to walk through the process. Like, so what made you want to do it in the first place?
For sure. So if we backtrack, so K-State, that's how Robin and I, that's how you and I met. Long story there, but anyway, so Robin and I, we get connected, and we've been in touch, obviously, ever since. So through that process, I was in a fraternity at K-State, did a business path, career path, ended up getting my degree in marketing. And so I ride through my college career and graduate, end up going out to Denver for a job out there. I actually didn't have a job. I went out, lived with a bro. Got a job out there in sales, which was all right, but it wasn't something I was passionate about. So I was trying to figure out where to land, this, that, and the other. And how everything kind of fell into place was there's a girl that I knew from school here. We were in the same year, graduated the same year. And she's been going to grad school for the last couple of years. So keep in mind, 1 year ago, I was in Denver. I was in Denver, Colorado. And so I had just moved. I was about to move back to Manhattan, where I'm at now, about a year ago. So everything was just starting fresh. And so how the mental health opportunity and role came up was this girl had launched her own nonprofit called Stand Up for Your Sister when she was a junior in college. So she's had this going for, 3 years at this point. And so she wanted to start a guy version of what she did. And her focal point was on sororities, strictly because she wanted to reach out to a community of girls that consistently saw each other. So it wasn't like an in and out sort of community. They were there for each other, but there needed to be more depth. There needed to be more surfacing in the relationships. So anyway, we ran into each other, whole long story, for sure, a God thing, no doubt. So we connect. I end up coming back to launch Building Brotherhood. And what drove me, I actually struggled initially with whether or not I should launch a nonprofit focused on mental health. It was an amazing opportunity, and it has been, but I've never struggled personally with anything too serious, not like depression, suicidal thoughts, stuff like that. I've never had. And, in college you get like anxiety over a test or something, but that's a little different. So I knew on like a very minor scale how mental health has affected me, but I knew after being in a fraternity how real that conversation was and how much need there truly was for one, fraternity men, but two, just college men in general, and three, men as a whole. I think in society, we've really missed the mark in a lot of ways on how mental health should be handled and what a man is supposed to look like. And so, you know, there's we're in an interesting time right now, and I think now more than ever there's just a need for a conversation to be opened up in regards to mental health. So that's just a general jump into the thing. I don't know if you guys want to help drive this conversation and navigate me through it, but that's kind of where it all started.
Oh, I got you. And you said it was called Brother Build Up?
Building brotherhood.
Building Brotherhood. Okay.
Yeah, building brotherhood.
And
Triple B's.
when you actually, so what was it like when it first started? Like when you actually sat down with your first guy, your first brother, if you will.
Yeah.
How was that conversation like?
Well, you know what? So it's really not a one-on-one counseling session. That, and the other. So really what Building Brotherhood exists for is to get the conversation going. So I'll give you just a brief outline of what happens. Mm-hmm. So I focused on fraternities. That's been my focal point. Actually, we're in the midst of this next school year, potentially getting in front of athletic teams, which would be hype. I mean, if I could get in front of the K-State football team and the basketball team, stuff like that, that's a whole nother direction to go. But what happens is I'd reach out to a president of a fraternity, and it was nice because I still had a lot of ties and connections here at K-State because I was only 1 year out of school. So I had those, which was a blessing in a lot of ways. So I'd reach out to a president, get in front of them, usually just grab coffee or just kick it a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'd explain to them, hey, I'm not a counselor. I'm no professional. If you want a professional, I'm not your guy. Like, you guys, you go find somebody else, because I'm not going to be sitting here spitting, you know, all these step-by-step processes and scenarios of how to handle certain things. I want to get the guys talking almost from a bro-to-bro perspective. Mm-hmm. So I'd go into the fraternity for a presentation, and these would last anywhere from, you know, an hour and 15 minutes to 2 hours. It just kind of depends on how much dialogue, how much talking is happening. So what happens is I go into a fraternity. First 5-10 minutes, I'm explaining who I am, my heart for mental health, which I just briefly explained to y'all. It's just, I've seen a lot of personal relationships, whether it's friends or family, affected by mental health. So that was kind of my driver. I explained that to them, and, you know, be real with them. Y'all are real talk, real views.
Oh, yeah.
But I let them know, like, I was nervous. I was scared coming back to launch something like this, not being credible in my own experience. But I'm credible in experiences and relationships with others. So I explained that to them, and then I hand out a survey. And this part is really like the driver, I think, of the presentation. So it's a 30-question survey, and they're all yes/no questions. And you just circle them, okay? Nobody puts their name on it. It's completely anonymous. And they range from, you know, have you ever failed a test before, all the way up to, have you ever attempted suicide or suicidal thoughts? So very heavy stuff and everything in between those things. And once the guys have filled out the survey, they hand them in. So say you got 50 guys in a room in this fraternity. Everybody fills it out. Mm-hmm. They hand them back in. I mix them up and redistribute them. So you're holding a survey of somebody in that chapter. You just don't know whose survey you're holding. And then I read through every question. And so I ask the guys to stand if yes is circled on that survey. So example being, first question, have you ever failed a test? If a yes is circled on that survey you're holding, you would stand up. So you're representing whoever it was in that room that did that survey. You're visually seeing, hey, we have 5 or 6 dudes that struggle with this. You know, like 7 dudes have attempted suicide, stuff like that. And you get a visual, because everybody wants to be the exception. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to think we're the house that struggles with this, or I'm the guy that struggles with that. Denial is a very real part of, I think, our culture. And it's just a human reaction to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So once the men have stood up and they can see visually what the chapters really like, I get them into small groups. They have 15, 20 minutes-ish to answer some questions, you know, ranging from which questions guys stood for surprised you the most. And then it starts to get more personal of, you know, do you know anybody, or have you personally struggled with any of these things listed on the survey? So they start processing in their own mind, how does this relate to me? Not just seeing other dudes in the room, but how does it relate to me? Then I bring them back. By this point, it's usually about 35, 40 minutes into the presentation. And then the end, this is the end right here. So all of my work and leading and helping facilitate is done. So the end, I leave the floor open. And this is where the most impact comes from. I'm convinced of it from guys and testimonies I've heard from guys. This part's really the most impactful. And what it is just an open floor. You know, I challenge guys to share any stories they may have. So if it's a victory story of something they've gotten through and it's something they want to encourage their brothers with, or if it's something that they're in the middle of and want to get off their chest, they can get it out there. So that's really how it goes. And I mean, it's nuts. You'll hear everything at the end. That's just where people spill their hearts out, and it's really wild.
Wow. Shit, where were you when I was at K-State, Max? Where were you, man? Maybe you should have did a presentation earlier. I had some shit I had to get off my chest. I didn't know who to go to, really. I had a couple of my boys, man, they on there, but damn. I was going through it in that frat house. I didn't fit in at all, man. So after hearing some of the testimonies, what was like maybe one or two of the biggest things that you've noticed that the guys struggle with in particular?
Yeah, so one of them, I think on a more of a mild end, I say mild, something that we wouldn't really pay as much attention to. Crazy enough, there's a lot of dudes that would stand up and they're either depressed or turning to other things to numb themselves, whether it's drinking or drugs or whatever it could be, strictly because of a breakup, which is something that's not talked about. You know what I mean? Like, if a guy gets broken up with, especially in a college culture, it's like, oh, bro, you're free. You can go, you know, sleep with whoever you want now. You can go hit up, have fun at parties. That's just the culture of it.
Right.
But if you're in love, like if you really felt something with somebody, there's more to it. But society in that culture, especially in a fraternity, they're telling you, hey, you're a free man, but you're feeling the complete opposite. Like and that really, I think, surprised me more than I was expecting, and guys in the house more than they were expecting, of, hey, we need to pay more attention to this. We need to really lean into this more and be an avenue. Like I said, the whole point of this is being a challenge for the guys to really open up to one another and have real talk with each other. So that was one that really surprised me in a lot of ways. And then the other one, on, I think, just a much more severe, radical end, would be the percentage of guys that have felt alone. So between what was it? Between August, when I came back to launch Building Brotherhood, until March, when COVID broke out, because obviously nobody came back to campus, the statistics, the data I recorded, was around 47% of guys in the houses felt alone in one way or another through all those issues, which is broad. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's half the dudes. And that was between 450 guys that, you know, I was privileged to get in front of. So it just really, I think, shocked me. It's like, people don't want to talk. And I think a lot of it has to do with society and just how we're told to be men and suck it up and move on, which you don't want to be soft, but there's a point where you're human. You got to talk about things. You know what I mean?
So how did they go about it? Like, as far as like some of the fraternity brothers, how did they, like, try to come to a resolution to talk amongst each other? Was there like a thing that they try to do? Was there like every, like, I'm just throwing stuff out there, like every Thursday, like all bros come together in the house and have like a whole conversation and vent to whatever's going on in their daily lives or something like that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. That was kind of up to the jurisdiction of the president in the chapter. So I left this with them, and I'd leave my personal information up there so they could reach out to me if anybody in the house wanted to reach out to me personally. But leaving them, like, I think what you're trying to get to is how are they applying what they just learned and applying what they just saw. And it's been encouraging because I've talked to a few presidents and they've told me they've created a mental health chair. So in their executive board, you got like the president, BP, PR, all that stuff. They've created its own position to really lean into that conversation. And then also, I think just hearing from guys that just revived more of a roommate sort of connection. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be sleeping next to one or two, three guys in the room every night, once that surfaces, that angst, and you're laying in bed, that night after you hear that presentation, and you also haven't talked about anything, it starts to sit there. You know what I mean? It's kind of heavy. It's like, man, I don't know the dude sleeping 4 feet away from me beyond we like to party together. And that's just a very different, I think, sort of perspective that has impacted guys in the house to really think about who the real friends are and why you're friends. And I'm a big believer and advocate for, you need to know why you do anything in life. I mean, if it's relationships, if it's school, like your career path, if it's a sport you're playing, is it because you love it or people are telling you you need to love it? Is your faith, like, there's multiple religions out there. Like, you need to know what you stand for and why you're standing for it. And if you don't know that, then you're just kind of aimlessly wandering through life, and who's calling those shots for you? So that's a little long of an answer, but
no, it's a great answer. It's full detail. That's how we like it around here. Real talk, real views.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is weird. 40 minutes. Yeah, man, I love it, Max. That's crazy, man. Cause I felt lonely when I was in the frat, but I only went in there because I had nowhere else to stay. And my homeboy was like, "You can stay here. It's cheaper than the dorms." That's all I heard. And it was like $640 a month. When I think about it, that rent is cheap. $640 a month. That was doable, but not to a college kid working part-time. It's not, that's not gonna work, man. But dog, damn, man, like it is something that we struggle with. Feeling like we were alone. I'm one guy who's just like, yo, just get it off your chest. Don't tell somebody, that's something that, would you say, did any guys tell you if they were extroverts that struggled with that? Because I know that's kind of like what introverts struggle mainly with, not telling people how they feel. You know what I'm saying? They just keep it bottled up. I don't think extroverts struggle with that, but I might be wrong. Am I wrong, Max? From what you've been,
I know introverts as far as me, because I know I'm an introvert. He like pulls the hell out of me to say something every single time. He pulls the hell out. He's like, I know something's bothering you. Let me just tug and tug and tug until it comes out. You're like, Jesus Christ, how long I gotta tug for you to just say something? But I know how hard it is to say something. So.
Yeah. So I think I got an answer for both of you, and kind of one answer, I guess, on its own. So I think introverts, like you were just saying, Gio, just the idea of it takes a lot more energy to get it out of you. And if there's guys that naturally aren't talking much, because they usually, a lot of introverts are very good at observing.
Yeah.
And so they pick up on a lot of things, but they don't give out a lot of things. So extroverts, the way I've seen it is it's not easier. I don't think it's necessarily easier in any way for extroverts to share their feelings or emotions. Like deep stuff, hard stuff, in my mind, I think it's equally as hard. We just have different ways of covering it and keeping it away. So an introvert's just not going to talk much. So you're not going to know where they're at most of the time because they aren't going to give many hints. You know what I'm saying? And an extrovert, he's going to keep it surface level. I don't know if you ever talk to somebody who talks a lot and you probe at something that might be a little more personal or deep, and they can, because they're extroverted, they're used to navigating a conversation. They can subtly pull that away, and you're off to a new conversation. So still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
you
know what I'm saying?
I don't know, Max. I feel like I'm somewhere in between. I feel like I'm a little bit of both.
Hell no, you be going through conversations. The moment we talking about something else, the next moment we talk about the damn sky or something.
I told
it's
you,
some random
I'm
topic.
a little bit of both, man. I'm a little bit of both, man. I feel like I'm in the middle. Because sometimes I'm loud, and sometimes you couldn't even tell I was in the room, man.
That's a lie. Everybody knows you're in the room.
I promise you, dog. You should have seen me when I used to go to the Manway meetings. I was not loud. I'm not the guy who walks in the grocery store and say, "Hey, everybody, my name's Robert. What's your name? You want to be my friend?" That's an extrovert. I'm not like that.
Oh, bro.
Who the hell says that at a grocery store?
Andy, am I like that? Andy, I'm not like that, right? Come on, Andy.
Nobody says that at a grocery store.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Bro,
Yeah,
I remember.
like that. I've seen extroverts. Like I said, I'm right in the middle. Right, Max? Am I not right in the middle? I think I'm in the middle.
You know what I'm thinking? This is funny. So the first time I met Robin, he said, "What's up?" as soon as I walk out of the bathroom. You know
You
that's
see what I'm
true,
saying? That's some random stuff. That speaks to it, right there.
That's funny. That's funny. Andy, what are you? You know?
Oh yeah, introvert, man.
For sure.
Introvert. Like a lot of people, even my fiance now, she still kind of struggles getting like my emotions. But it's like for me, I think my issue is I'm like a silent sufferer because of the fact that I think like a lot of people have their own things going on in their lives. So it's like I don't want to add on my baggage. That's how I think about it. And I'm working on that because I understand sometimes, it's good to share. That way we could properly both heal together instead of me just bottling myself in. So I'm learning that now.
Yeah, right. That's a good thing to be learning because that's true. That's a lot of reasons people don't open up. So yeah, I'd say the introvert-extrovert thing, in my mind and from what I've seen, equally as hard. They just have different ways of hiding their emotions. And then when it comes to realizing and reaching out to people that you see there might be more going on than just happy-go-lucky life, which is usually all the time. Like everybody's got issues, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's got their skeletons in the closet to some degree. And the biggest thing that I think people hang up on and don't realize is you don't have to have answers. We're in such an answer-given culture. Like everybody wants to have an answer for everything. I mean, you look at right now, whether it's COVID or it's racial tension, everybody feels like they have to have the answer, and that's not how life works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So listen, that's what it is. That's where conversations get real and people can really lean into you is listening. And so that's something I've learned a lot because, I mean, if you guys can't tell, I do like to talk. I'm more of an extrovert than an introvert for sure. But when it comes to those conversations, when I was in Fidel, there were guys that would come to me, and I mean, they'd be broken down. And this plays back into the whole reason I saw a need for this and wanted to start building brotherhood. But they'd be breaking down, and I don't have an answer. I don't know. I was clueless at that time because this wasn't part of my job. This was just me as a fraternity brother, but I'd listen. and they would come to me and share it. And you know that feeling. I think everybody's had those moments where they just get something off their chest and you feel so much lighter. Even though nothing's fixed, the fact that somebody knows that is just a relief, you know? Yeah, it helps. Yeah. So that's something that I think we need to do better at.
And we can't make like introverts feel bad about them being quiet. I feel like
damn right.
I feel like they get attacked. They get attacked a lot. The only reason why, like I said, I relate, Max, is like I feel like I'm dead smack in the middle. I feel like if you tell me, hey, Robin, I need you to recruit, I turn on my extrovert button. But when you say, hey, Robin, I got this, I'll be the leader, I'll just take a step back and I'll let you do it, and you won't even know I'm in the room. I could literally do both. It's so crazy because there was this weird guy. Well, I can't even say he's weird because he might listen to the podcast. There was this guy that me and my brother know. He knows what I'm talking about. He worked with us, and for some reason, he liked me more than he liked my brother. He liked my brother, and he was a strange guy, like very, very introverted. Oh. And he's a skateboarder. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just got what he said.
I could relate with him. I don't know how, Max, but I'm good with introverts. I'm good with extroverts. Like I said, I'm very observant too. And I feel like you're kind of in the middle too, Max, because I've seen you very serious before. I've seen you, Max. You're pretty close. I think you might be the introvert by just maybe 3% or 6. You're right there, Max. It's just like here's extrovert for you, and introvert's like right down here. Like you're pretty close, Max. You're pretty close. Because at some point in a man's life, you have to be vocal. And to be vocal, to be a leader, you have to be somewhat vocal so people can know, okay, where the hell do you stand? You can't play the little mind games like just figure it out. No, it's not gonna work. You gotta open your mouth, man. Are you hurting inside? If you come talking to me, your arms are broken, and I have no idea. I'm just talking to you like everything normal. You know you hurt, but you won't say anything. But you think, maybe he'll say, hey, is your arm okay? No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, man. You know what I mean? But Joe, that's funny that you're telling me that you're an introvert, because when you were at work, when you were down here, it didn't look like it.
Because at that time, I was pretty much comfortable with everybody. Pretty much it was like I was working there in the beginning. I didn't know nobody. They're teaching me everything. I kind of just learned. I kind of got everything pretty quick than most of the other new